Pitch and Pros family, welcome back to another episode. I am your co-host, Mr. Justin Wolfe.
I am your other co-host, Stefan Jones. This is episode 4, baby.
Yes, sir. Episode 4. We're back to it. Feels good to be back with the boys yet again, and thankfully a shorter
Yep.
period of time now. I think that's a big benefit for this.
For
But
sure.
we hope you guys are really looking forward to this one. This is gonna be a fun one for all of us.
Yeah, very
we
loose. It's gonna be very loose for sure.
Yeah, very loose, and especially right before we definitely were having good conversations already. So this will be a fun one.
Yeah, a lot more
But,
relaxed.
oh yeah, I think it's a much needed episode because especially in terms of just life in general, we are very structured people, all of
Mhm.
us. So getting to just kind of be open in ourselves is going to be key. So today we're going to actually talk about mental health.
Yep.
It's going to be a big topic for today. Being able to, just like we said, be free, being able to express how we are mentally, because I think that's a big thing too, is just showing strength and vulnerability.
Mhm.
So being able to express ourselves in different ways, because it's tough for a lot of people to, be vulnerable. And I think, this is a good safe space for us, for all of you out there, kind of just learning from our experiences and life in general. And then, I mean, that's the biggest reason why we do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I,
So
I think also too, like another reason why we really wanted to focus on mental health with this episode is just because being in this industry, like working in sports, music, entertainment,
mm,
it's rough. Like
oh,
it's
100%.
grueling
100%.
schedules. And there's just like a lot of dynamics to work around with it.
Mhm.
And so we kind of just want to be just honest and transparent about the successes, the struggles that we go through, right?
Mhm.
Especially as of late. Today is November 22nd. I was about to say 11/22. Today is November 22nd as of
You're right.
recording this. But before we actually like dive deep into how we're doing and
Mm.
kind of like the ins and outs of what we go through working in the industry, Kenny just opened his mouth. Kendrick drop,
Hey,
baby.
Kendrick did drop, and this was whoo, yeah. I told this guy right away. I'm like, because we're talking about mental health, because we even talked about we want to express music because that's
Yeah.
such a big part of the podcast, especially. I mean, you guys hopefully heard it in episode 3. Definitely watch that. We definitely talked a big portion about music, so kind of tapping back into that. Ooh, we even touched on Not Like Us and all of that too in
Yeah, yeah.
episode 2. If you want to watch that as well.
Yeah, y'all better go back into the catalog, bro.
Yes, absolutely. But no, I'm saying it right now. I even told you this an hour as soon as that damn album dropped. Album of the year,
I know. I was
100%.
trying to tell this fool not to spoil it for me because I didn't even know you were how I actually found out it dropped. I didn't see it on socials or nothing. Like I
It
got
was
it from your
crazy,
text.
crazy.
So I guess where should we start with it? I guess just like what did you think of how he started, or what do you think of first how he dropped it, and then also the intro track?
I think the way he dropped it was probably the best possible thing for him.
Yeah,
I
just
think,
out of nowhere.
yeah, I think that was the biggest thing because literally, like, I was just like, I just popped up on IG, like, just cause, and then all of a sudden I looked, I was like, that's a Kendrick cover, and then it said Kendrick album drop right now. I was like, what? And then I looked at Spotify. I was like, oh, he really dropped. So I was like, I knew right away. Like, one, I was hyped because I think everyone was kind of anticipating something.
Especially with him headlining the Super Bowl. Like,
Oh yeah, he needed
yeah,
something. And I mean, I wasn't too tapped into everything, but I know talking with some other friends, they're like, yeah, I think what he's nominated for Artist of the Year.
he has a few nominations, like Song of the Year, I think Artist of the
Yeah,
Year, quite a bit.
but
Yeah.
it's crazy because they're saying like, I think a lot of people felt some type of way since he hasn't dropped the whole album this year. They're like, why is he Artist of the Year? And then
Quality over
oh,
quantity.
of course, he had like, I mean, all the songs he dropped through the whole
Incredible.
the whole debacle. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy. So it's being able to now showcase. Look, I got something to show you guys even more now, and I think even the anticipation of a lot of the songs that he was kind of hinting at, like especially in the Not Like Us music video.
Hmm.
I think there was a lot of anticipation, but no one really knew when. I think people I didn't think he was gonna drop this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be 100% honest, but I did have a feeling sometime in the near future.
Yeah.
But I thought he was gonna do some kind of rollout.
Yeah. The rollout, like shoot, the whole summer was his rollout. Like the
That's
all the
true.
all the back
That
and
is
forth
true.
disses with Drake, and then obviously like you mentioned, like you alluded to, one of the songs on the album is the second track, Squabble Up. Like he had that beginning snippet in the
Crazy.
Not Like Us music video. At the beginning of that video, man, I just think like even the album, it's called GNX. The whole progression of it and I think it stands for like Grand National, or great, like yeah, for the because like he talks about that car a lot in the album,
Mm-hmm.
just like the whole progression from was it the first song's Whacked Out Mural,
Yeah.
all the way through down. So I think the last track is Gloria,
Gloria. Yeah.
bro, incredible. So like, what are you rocking with the most so far? I mean, obviously it's like been less than 24 hours that we've had the opportunity to listen to it, but I'm trying to know what
I
I
mean,
already know you told me earlier, but I really want to know kind of like deeper as to
it
why
hasn't
you've.
even been 12
That's
hours. It
facts. That's
hasn't even
facts.
been 12
Yeah.
hours. Like that's the crazy part. But I mean, that's honestly a lot of what I've been listening to right now, especially. I'd say there's three songs that stand out to me. One is Luther. I think that's a big one because I really like SZA, and I think their combo always meshes and blends really well in terms of music. And I know she popped up again later on in Gloria,
Yeah.
but I think just that track like Luther really stood out. See, Squabble Up was anticipated and
Dude.
hit, but
Gym banger for sure.
oh, for sure. But I think two other ones were Dodger Blue. I know, not a Dodger fan, Giants fan, but still, I think there's a good mix of Roddy Rich. There's one more in there. I know Zakari was in there too at the end,
Yeah.
but I couldn't tell if it sounded like Kid Cudi, but I could have been
Yeah,
completely
we're gonna
wrong.
have to go back and check this
Yeah,
the song credits for
I,
sure.
I wouldn't I wouldn't doubt if he adds the features after, like a lot of artists have been doing, where they add the features after the album's been out for
Yeah.
a little bit. So he might do that after. But Dodger Blue stood out, and then who? Oh, TV off.
Yeah, TV off.
TV
Oh,
off was
West Coast banger. Mustard.
honestly though the whole album, like the West Coast vibe is kind of like what really stood out to me, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he's putting on for the best coast at
We're
the end of the day.
we're taking over for
Oh,
sure.
for sure. Well, we have been, but he's having us come back up. Like even just bringing in a lot of like LA artists. I think
Yeah.
that was really cool because like there's a lot of artists in there that people are like, who is this? But
Right.
unless you're in California or from LA, probably more specifically, you'll know these artists a lot more.
And I love what I really love the most about the album too is he pays homage to a lot of like R&B and soul
Oh,
classics. So like
mm,
Luther, the song is titled and paying homage to Luther Vandross.
mm,
And then actually didn't even realize that until a friend of mine, like I saw that she was kind of just like giving her own review of the album, and she was
mm,
going into that because she was telling me how like her grandparents like love Luther, and
mm,
obviously he's just like a go when it comes to R&B and soul music.
mm.
And then like my favorites off of it are Heart Part 6, the real Heart Part 6,
Mm.
not that whack shit that Drake
Drake,
dropped, bro. That was,
the
I mean,
AI one.
good chess move, but it's just like, come on, dog. That wasn't it.
Yeah.
But no, like he sampled Use Your Heart interlude by SWV on
Mm,
Heart Part 6, which like obviously Use Your Heart Part 6, like
mm,
so it was just super dope, like being able to actually hear and see all the influences from like 90s, 80s, early 2000s R&B, and
mm,
B, and just like how he incorporated it while also having that West Coast sound, and then like still even in Whacked Out Mural, still like getting his shit off, like talking about Snoop
Ooh.
and still alluding to the disses, and also
Wayne,
yeah, just
Lil
like,
Wayne,
oh man, yeah,
the Super
yeah,
Bowl.
yeah, because like a lot of people were mad that Lil Wayne wasn't selected by Hove and like their
Mm,
council that selects the artist for the Super Bowl because it's being hosted in New Orleans this upcoming year. But
hometown.
like Kendrick was just having a phenomenal summer. Like he definitely deserved it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I still got to give it a deeper listen. Like I don't want to go too far into my like review and opinion of it, but man, like I texted my homies this today, like my
Mm,
homie Angus. Um, in my opinion, this album and just like this year that he's had, and also if you just look at Kenny's whole discography,
mm.
he's solidified himself as the GOAT to me. The GOAT rapper, like
Yeah,
pop star, all this other stuff is very nuanced, but like in terms of rap and
rapping.
storytelling,
Yeah.
man, and also staying true to where he's from, like staying
Oh,
true to
100%.
West Coast and
Yeah.
being like putting on for Compton, like
Yeah.
yeah. So that's like my kind of like final say on that.
I,
So
I could agree with that for sure. And
yeah,
I just thought about this. But I was like, last episode I did say Don's album was album of the year.
yeah, you gonna roll that
It's
back?
gonna be like one episode's one album, the next one's another, then the next. No, it's not gonna be like that. But it's just kind of crazy timing how this came out same day we're literally having this conversation. So I mean, yeah, for me it was Don's album this year, but then Kenny decided to drop this, and yeah, he really took off, and I think he came with some hits for sure. And
Yeah,
even if they're not gonna be like hits that are always gonna be played on the radio, played in the car, but like you're saying, like it's not his true music, and that's not always how rap is. Or I
yeah,
mean, like nowadays at least, like his music is like real rap. And like you were saying,
Yeah, 100%.
like you even texted me, you were like hip hop is saved.
Yeah, bro, and like
Yeah.
I think a huge tie-in too to what like our focus is today with mental health is like on this project and even on Kenny's last project, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he talks a lot about his traumas, his
Mhm.
experiences. And on this one, he talks a lot about like, like losing a lot of friends and not, and, kind of just isolating himself in the industry and
Mhm.
not really caring about the, maintaining relationships in the industry. He's like, screw it. I'm just going to solidify myself as that dude.
Mhm.
And, he says a lot. I can't remember which song it was, but he says, hey, just know like not everybody's going to like you. Like
Yeah.
put your head down and work.
Mhm.
And I think I think that fits in perfectly to how we are with sports, right? And
Mhm.
like before we dive deeper into that, I kind of want to do like a quick little check in with you, right? Because I know the past couple weeks, like both of you, we've been super busy.
Mhm.
I'm just recovering from pneumonia. That was horrible.
Stay away.
But kind of just like like 1 through 10 ranking of like mental, physical, and also like financial. Like how you doing on the mental side, like 1 through 10.
Mm. Mental side, I think if you asked me this question probably like a week ago, probably would have said it was more like a 6 because
Mm-hmm.
I was starting to get pretty worn out, and also just a lot of stuff in my head. I was really getting in my head about a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
like behind the scenes. But I'd say now it's more like 7, 8, so I'm doing better. Like I still feel great. Obviously I'm still me, so it's
Of
like
course.
I'm gonna always be my positive, happy self. But I think there's still obviously stuff that I deal with at home, on the go, just like things I think about a lot because something I tend to do is overthink. So I do that a lot, and I kind of overthink situations, overthink little things, and yeah, and that can kind of eat me up at times. And then when I feel like sometimes I'm not on the path I need to be taking at times,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I start overthinking a little bit more. Like even if I may be doing really really well, like
Yeah.
overall in terms of financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, but that mental might be start to deteriorate because I might see I'm not cleaning up as much. I'm not doing little things like reading. I might not be
Yeah.
just little stuff, maybe taking care of myself the best in terms of hygiene. If like one moment I forget, I'm like, like that's not good. I need to get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
And then like even taking like supplements, stuff like that. Just little things like if I forget, I'm like I kind of like time to get back to it again.
Yeah.
I gotta fix it again. And then it just sometimes might eat me up a little bit. But I mean, yeah, I think I found a better way to kind of be like, okay, it's okay. That's one moment. It's past. It's done. Like now it's on to the next step.
And
Just
one
like
and one
everything.
thing I've noticed about you too is like I think you really use like playing footy, working out, doing a lot of like mobility stuff. You
Yeah.
use that really as a decompressor, right?
Yeah.
And I definitely agree with you in like in terms of like mentally when things start to go, because like for me the past couple weeks just battling pneumonia,
Yeah.
and then for my job with St. Mary's, our men's basketball season started,
Mm.
and so we were super busy with like the home opener and
Mm.
then obviously getting a bunch of last minute partnership stuff ready,
Mm.
and dealing with pneumonia, having that, and then also like as we talked about personally, like I my grandmother on my dad's side passed away,
Mm.
and that was like a unique situation for me
Mm.
because I definitely have memories of her when I was super young, but I didn't grow up like really around her that much,
Mm.
just because of the family dynamic, and so and like just the way the news was broke to me was also very unexpected, and so
Mm.
mentally for me like like kind of how you said like 6 7, I've kind of been around the same, maybe a little lower,
Mm.
but and one thing we were talking about today too, because I know you got to work out in today, I got to work out in today,
Mm.
the physical
Felt
side
nice.
for both of us is huge,
Mm.
and so like just talk to me a little bit about, because I know and especially with how busy you are with coaching and stuff,
Mm.
you don't always get that time to go get a lift in or like get some cardio in.
Mm.
So how important is staying physical to you, and then also how much would you say it plays into just your overall happiness and just how you go about your day?
I think it plays a huge role. Because another reason why I feel like my mental's a little bit higher too is because this was the first week I actually got to complete like almost every day of being in the gym.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's been honestly a long time since I've been able to do that. But it plays a big role because in terms of just like, I think overall confidence in myself,
Mm,
overall confidence when I step on the field, because I was like, oh, okay, like, I feel like I got stronger yesterday. I feel like I got better today. It kind of adds that little bit extra to it. Definitely at times, I think still for me, it's about being smart about what I do
mm,
in terms of working out because I also do so many other things in terms of coaching. It's still physically demanding. And then playing too, when I play, it's very physically demanding because even last week I played a game on Wednesday. I played it on Friday at the co-ed league. And then I played, what was it, Saturday or Sunday? We had our last UPSL game. So it's like,
Sunday, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, see, so that whole week I played 3 games. So I think because physically I was starting to get tired, mentally I was getting a little bit more tired. So I think this week I was able to kind of be like, all right, let's jumpstart something new. Let's get
Hmm.
back to it. And then that helped me kind of build my mental back up and making sure, okay, I got to focus on other things. So
I'm glad
yeah.
you brought that up. And actually, I kind of want to, I know I brought up like doing like a ranking of like mental, physical, and financial. I kind of want to skip financial because I really want to focus on like the schedule that you just talked about, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
so I
Crazy one.
think a lot of people don't realize, like even at the pro level that you're at, right? It's, you're coaching, you're playing, you have family that you got to see and take care of,
Yeah.
and then obviously taking care of yourself when you're not doing, work, being there for your clients and for your teammates and your coworkers and stuff,
Mm,
right? and and I see day in day out how much hard work you put in and like
mm.
all the long hours that you spend in the car commuting
Yeah.
and like the work that you're putting into your Barca train like
Oh, the
educational
academy
course.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so you have a lot of things that you're managing, right? And I think for a lot of the listeners out there, a lot of the
Mm,
viewers, they probably don't really comprehend like a lot. They see the social stuff. They see all like the techie footy stuff,
yeah.
the cool highlights,
Mm.
but they don't see all the hard work and the grind that goes behind it. So like kind of speak to that and how have you been trying to manage that lately? Because I know it's hard to sometimes.
I mean, first, I think if you look at it in terms of social media standpoint, I think that's just how it is for a lot of people. If you really look at it, if you look at a lot of success for many athletes, many, promoters, influencers in any way, like a lot of these people are putting so much work in behind the scenes. Obviously, you have people that, you know, they get a clip. Oh, okay, now it's famous. And then they try to take off with it or they just deteriorate and fall. um, but I think if you really look at the ones that stay successful and keep going up, it's all the work that is put in behind the scenes. And I think for me, it always is that hard work. And I think,
Hmm.
like we've talked about, for me, it's always the journey. It's the journey, not the destination. So it's being able to really go through life's processes. And that's the hard work, the ups, the downs, dealing with days where you might not want to do something, but you got to do it. And then even just, dealing with heartbreak, dealing with losses of family, dealing with, losses of pets, loved ones in
Yeah,
general, like,
a lot of the unexpected things in
yeah,
life.
a lot of there's so many things that may happen unexpectedly. And that's why we got to thank God every day that we're still here. We're still here. We're alive. Like we get to breathe another day. So that's something that, I think helps me stay locked in and making sure I keep working because I got to wake up another day. And I
Hmm.
think, a tough thing too, is, and you guys know this best is, well, you guys, you and Jeremy, especially, and a lot of the people that are very close to me is that, I like to put others over myself. I'm very
A lot.
a
Yeah.
lot, and in many ways, in shape and form, I do that a lot, and it's just my character though. It's just me.
Yeah.
It's hard to like steer away from that. Can be too nice, yeah, maybe, but it's just me at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you bring up too, like you talk about the hard work, managing the ups and downs,
Mm,
and obviously our focus is giving you guys some of those tools to be able to handle those things. So, what are some of the tangible things that you yourself do to manage those up and downs? Because, for example, like with myself, right?
mm,
Um, because we have two kind of varying types of work. Like you're
yeah,
you're up all day, active all day, and like I'm in front of a desk most of the day, sitting
mm,
down.
mm,
And so like for me, right? I grew up playing sports, so
yeah,
I like to be active. I can't sit still for too long, and
yeah, yeah,
so little things, right? Like if you're a person who's like me and you're on the business side and you kind of sit down a lot,
mm,
this may sound kind of silly, but getting up and stretching, or like every or routine I have is every lunch break I go on a 30-minute walk. Every lunch break,
Mm,
I have to, like, I have to get outside, whether it's raining, like sun's out. I have to get a walk in
mm,
just for my peace of mind.
mm,
And then outside of work stuff, right? Like meditating. And I know a lot of people. This was something I know we wanted to mention
mhm.
too. LeBron's taking a break from
Oh,
socials.
yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of athletes and celebrities are starting to do that more often.
Yeah,
And I think that's another tool that you guys can use too, like,
absolutely.
because fear, FOMO, fear of missing
Yeah,
out, and,
yeah,
and imposter syndrome, like
yeah,
that that exists for everybody in any industry, but especially in ours,
yeah.
because like we're 23. You see another 23-year-old who's like balling out over like on
Mm.
like on Real, or like look Lamine Yamal, bro. He's what, 17?
17, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Balling out.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's so easy for another pro guy to be like, damn, like I wish I was like that at 17,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, anyways, those are just some examples. But what do you yourself do? What are the tangible things that you do to manage those up and downs?
I think for me is just kind of like what I was just saying, like, being able to understand, like, I'm here for another day.
Right.
Being able to just be grateful for that. I think for me is I practice gratitude. I practice gratitude every day, being able to understand what I'm grateful for, and just always, like I said, thanking the man above for just, I always say big things, little things, like whatever it may be, having a roof over my head, having a lot of my family members still around, being able to have good people around me, good food to eat, clean water, just having a space for me to live life in.
Do you have
Because
a gratitude journal? Like, do you write this stuff down
no,
or
I just speak it.
speak it into
I
existence? I
just
love
speak it
that.
into existence, and I just use my mind. I think I should start doing that because that's something I used to do a lot,
Got you.
especially
Okay.
especially during
Yeah.
COVID. Like during COVID, I did a lot of these things in terms of journaling, writing stuff down, like just writing. But now I kind of took my foot off the gas. I'd say probably the last year or two.
Mm,
But I feel like I definitely need to get back into it. But I think for me also, I just try to let my heart and my mind speak.
that's fair.
And so
Yeah.
when I do that, I like just saying it and then just allow it to just continue to happen because it's that manifestation too, right?
Oh,
It's like,
100%.
and I think that's something I realize is like, sometimes I'm like, oh, like may hesitate with certain things I say because I'm like, I don't know, is that really gonna happen? But I feel like if I have that confidence to be like, yeah, like this can happen if I manifest it and say it to just myself, to you guys, to whoever it may be, like it helps me kind of be like, okay, like this could really happen. Like, and it's just like that trust and that belief that it could. If it doesn't, I think for me is I'm someone that doesn't try to just be let down by it. Like if it
Mm,
doesn't happen, it just wasn't meant to happen. Like it is what it is. And I think that's something that I've had to learn, especially throughout this whole year. And that's helped me develop and grow is like, if things are meant to be, they will be.
yes.
Thing like no matter how hard I may try, no matter how hard someone else may try, but like I said, specifically myself in terms of the situation, like being able to still understand, like, look, I'm alive. you know, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm alive. So it's now just learning. It's a learning process. And that's kind of tapping into also like just the person I am and kind of going back to me being selfless in a way. Like I also, even with all the amazing people around me, I like to figure out things myself. And
Yeah.
that can also be a hard thing, but at the same time, like it helps me learn and just understand, like, look, you're going through this life yourself and you got to just figure it out.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that actually just reminded me, like, because I'm the opposite, right? Like,
Mm,
because that's how my biological father was. Like, he was always focused on handling everything himself, and I
mm,
definitely adopted some of that. I
mm,
think a lot of the guys in that within our friend group, or like our
mm.
family, have that within them.
Yeah.
um but like at this stage of my life, like I rely heavily on my homies, like
Mhm.
you, Jay, like a lot of other people that I'm super close with. um I rely super heavily on friends and family. And I think, like, what you talked about with acceptance, that's especially important as an athlete, as a sports, music, and entertainment industry professional, because especially if you're, somebody who's like applying to jobs right now, you have to accept, okay, did I, optimize my resume as best as I could? Yes.
Mm,
Did I reach out to the hiring manager? Yes.
mm.
Did I apply to jobs that are relevant to me? Yes. Okay, well, if you're doing the best you can, you
Mhm.
have to accept that you're doing the best that you
You,
can.
yeah.
There's gonna be so many other people who are probably more talented. They had better situations, got more experience, grew up wealthier,
Mm,
right? Like they didn't deal with as many like mental health blocks as
Mm,
you, and accepting that like that's their life and
mm.
your life is your life. It's a hard thing. It's way easier said than
Oh,
done.
100%.
But once you actually do that, and I've learned a lot of that from you too, and from Jay, like
Mm,
just having conversations with you guys. And I definitely encourage the audience too, if you are one of those people who you feel like you're on an island, or you feel like you're, just stranded without a life raft,
mm.
just reach out to somebody,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
like a friend, family, coworker, if it's in an appropriate setting, like just reach out to somebody just to say, hey, I need help. I just
Yeah.
need to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then also too, like how's the dynamic for you with your coworkers, right? Because you guys are
Mm.
all super busy, training, coaching, meetings, playing. Like, how do you build that rapport with them to where it's like, okay, how are you guys checking in on each other?
That's such a great question because that's something I wanted to bring up
Oh,
too. Is
nice.
like just talking about how I think we've built such a family culture within our group and our team with Golden Boot, and I think you know it's not really seen as coworkers. Like
Hmm.
sometimes hard to explain that. Like you may have to be like, oh, coworker. No, it's not.
It's a
We're family.
brotherhood.
Yeah, it's we're brothers. Like we're all family. So it's like it's easy for us to really open up to each other. But obviously, it's like you said, it's the setting, right? Like if the main focus is camps, getting stuff done, making sure we're taking the business in the right direction, may not be the best time. But it's like afterwards, if like when you have a one-on-one conversation with somebody, you need to just have a talk. It's so easy to do that with all of us, and that's why like I with all of them I feel like I can really be open about that, and I have been always open with that. And I think yes, like I said, with myself I do kind of look at, okay, how can I fix things, but I
Yeah.
still look for you guys for advice and ideas and just trying to understand, because I think that's another thing too, is you got to learn. You have to not only learn from your own experiences but learn from others.
Oh, yeah.
You have to learn from others, and that's why like I think a big thing is also just ask questions. Like there's no problem asking questions, and I think for me is especially with those guys, like I wouldn't be in the position I'm in with these guys if I didn't ask questions.
Yeah.
If I didn't ask questions, if I didn't learn from a lot of the mistakes I made, I don't think I would be able to be where I'm at
And
with
what's
the
that phrase?
business.
It's like a smart person learns from their own mistakes, a wise person learns from the mistakes of others, or something like along those
Something
lines.
like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the biggest thing too is like it also it's also understanding, like, look, sometimes y- you may want advice, but you may not also be looking for it.
Yeah.
So it's just like understanding ideas. And honestly, it's crazy because like in the podcast Shits and Gigs, they were literally talking about that same exact thing. So like I want to kind of talk about that a little bit
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, go for it.
just because it's literally what we're talking about right now. It's
Yeah.
talking about like just sometimes like not wanting advice, just wanting to be heard in a way. And they literally like talked about that. Like there's may not be a need for like, hey, I don't need your advice, bro. Like I just want you to hear
Yeah.
me. And that's I think something that we have with them. Like I have with them, I have with you,
Yeah.
and I think with all of my friends. So I think that's what helps me out a lot because there may be times where like, hey, I may want your idea, but I may not fully do it because, like I said, at the end of the day, it's my life and my decision. I got to live and die by the sword. Like if the advice is actually good advice, and I decide, hey, let me do something different. If I mess up, that's on me. At the end of the day, I got to learn from it.
Yeah.
I got to learn from it. They could have been like, told you so, but at the same time, it's like, look, not really, because I had to make that decision.
And I remember too, like I commended you because I remember we were talking about this a lot. Like that's something that I had to navigate with a lot of the women in my life, like my
Mm,
mom, female friends, sister, because sometimes as men we're so quick to want to offer up a solution
mm-hmm.
or offer advice, but really, and like my mom's even told me this too herself. Like
Mm,
she was like, son, like sometimes girls just want you to listen.
yeah,
And I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize that. Like I thought they
yeah,
wanted me to help solve the problem, right? Because that's just like how our minds work. But
yeah.
just in knowing that you have somebody there, it really helps a lot, like you
Mm,
alluded to. And also too, like for those of you, if you feel like you maybe don't have that family group or that friend group, definitely tap into therapy. Like
mm.
that has been a huge help for me.
It's amazing though. It's so
Yeah,
it's so good that you're doing that though.
I
It
appreciate
really
that.
is.
Yeah, and I started that journey like August 23, 2023. And it's crazy because it's cool. It's I think the biggest benefit that I found from therapy is you're talking to somebody who one is a professional, like
Mhm.
they've studied psychology and they know how the mind works and they know certain concepts that maybe the average person isn't aware of. But also too the hugest thing about it, you're talking to somebody who they can give you insight and perspective, but they're also unbiased. I mean,
Yeah.
they have their own values and morals that are biased,
Mhm.
but they don't know you. They don't know the people that you're talking about. And sometimes, like if you're talking to one friend about another friend and there's an
Mm.
issue going on, they're
Mm.
gonna give you a biased response because like they don't want to disrespect that friend, but then they also want to be there for you.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
with the therapist, they'll tell you, "Oh, that person's tripping," or like, "Oh, like
Yeah.
you're the person who kind of needs to really look within for that situation."
Mm.
And so I just highly encourage people to really tap into that and take advantage of those services. And we'll share resources at the end. But what have you had a therapy journey and if so, how was that? And if not, why not?
Honestly, no, I haven't. I think you and I like I've communicated with you before about possibly doing it at one point, especially like at one point this year.
Mhm.
I had thought about it because I think it was just me at my lowest point and just trying to like navigate. Okay, what's gonna be the best option to kind of dig my way out of it? But I just decided not to do it because, like I said, I'm someone who just tries to figure it out and then just try to learn and just try to grow. And I think there was just moments of me just finally fully understanding, and then me getting those opportunities like my car rides home,
Yeah.
me just kind of being by myself, like finally in certain moments, kind of digesting, okay, what is it that I can really do and fix? Whether it may be with the situation, even if the situation's past, okay, what can I do in the future to kind of like set myself up for better success
Mhm.
or better opportunity or just a better understanding of myself. So I think that's why, like, I didn't fully go commit to that, but I commend you for doing it. I know a lot of
Appreciate
people.
that.
I know a lot of people that do it too, and I think there's a real benefit. And I see for you, there really is a real benefit. And
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you can share to everyone like your experience and
Thank you, bro.
being able to pass your knowledge to them too. Like,
Yeah.
hey, look, like we all can do it, and especially like I think people don't realize like men can do it too.
100%.
So I think that's a big thing that like that you emphasize, and you showing that and showing that vulnerability is key, because I think a lot of men especially maybe like battling with a lot of demons, and they can't really express it. So being able to express it in certain ways, maybe through therapy, maybe through you know religion, whatever it may be, like them finally finding a way is going to help them a lot. So I think you showing that avenue really showcases a lot.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that, like for
Mm.
real. And I think also too, the point you brought up is huge because even us men who grew up playing sports,
Mm.
like especially in sports, you're taught to like suck it up, like next play,
Mm.
like go hard, go hard, go hard, and you're never really taught to relax, to
Mm.
think things through,
Mm.
to like really vocalize how you're feeling, what you're going through, whether that
Mm.
be field, on the court, off the field, whatever the case may be. And especially like to all my brothers out there, like all my men of color, it's even more common for us because we grow up with dads and sometimes mothers too who they don't really express their emotion, and so we
Mm.
don't know how to do that. We weren't like because we weren't taught that, we weren't shown that, or it was a matter of like one not seeing it, but also similar to what I mentioned within sports, kind of being shunned from being vulnerable
Mm.
and like, oh, like be a man, like or like quote unquote don't act like a girl, which I think that's like the dumbest fucking that's the dumbest thing ever. But
Mm.
so yeah, it's especially for us guys, it's way more important. I think like that's the beauty of having strong women in your life too, is because they
Absolutely.
teach you that vulnerability.
Mm.
Like they teach you how to talk through things for the most part. They teach you how to talk through things, how to really vocalize what you're going through, and figure things out. And I think like sometimes, even though we try to focus on giving you guys tangible things to utilize, sometimes like with the mental health stuff, it's not a tangible thing. Sometimes it's really just okay. Like something that my therapist taught me is challenge your thoughts, and that's not like a super unique thing to think about.
Mm.
But when you really ask yourself, like, okay, like, am I challenging my thoughts, and if
Mm.
so, how am I doing that?
Mm.
It sort of just changes how you go about your day. And like,
Mm.
obviously, you're not always going to make the right decisions,
Mm.
but challenging your thoughts in moments of distress, in
mm,
moments of despair, it puts you in a position to where you have to think, okay, what's my next move?
mm,
Am I gonna do something that's beneficial to me,
mm.
or am I gonna do something that I know is gonna put me in a darker place? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that deep think is important. Like, I think that's where decision making really comes in, and making the best decision. And that's why, we talk about it with sports, we talk about it with journalism, we talk about it especially overall. Like, to make the best, you have to make the best decision possible. And if you don't really take time to like digest it and think about it, it's so hard to just be like, okay, this is the best decision for me
Mm-hmm.
and overall for like the collective that I may be around. So it's like, it's very, very important. And I think, kind of from my own experience with that, that's kind of how I like to approach my thinking too,
Yeah.
is being able to, really understand, every possible outcome in a way. So it helps me understand, okay, this is probably gonna be best for me. If even if it doesn't work out, hey, I at least looked at what was probably best for me in that moment,
Yeah.
you know? And I definitely have had experiences where maybe I didn't think clearly, and then it's like, okay, that was a bad decision. Whether it was game, whether it's life, anything, like not thinking fully and challenging myself, being like, oh, maybe that's not the best idea. Oh, maybe that is a good idea. That fully like that full challenge helped like, or not having that full challenge, excuse me, not having that full challenge made it tough for me to be like, okay, this is a good decision. And it ended up being just like, bam, happened. I was like, what just happened? What just
Right.
happened? Because
Yeah.
you just let everything just like come at you, and you let it affect you. It eats up your body, eats up your mind. So it's just like, bam, here you go. And you're like, wait, that's not what I wanted. And then you just, I don't want to say you regret it because you got to live with it at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
but it's almost like, oh, what do I do now? It's almost like a shock. It's a shock to your body. So, I think, in terms of that too, like what, what are maybe like some moments, or what do you think are some opportunities that you found yourself challenging yourself to make a better decision, or maybe even be like, maybe that wasn't my best decision. How can I now adapt? What do you think for yourself?
Dude, it's so funny. I was literally gonna ask you the same damn thing. Like, I'm not even joking, bro.
Bah, got there
Cause
quicker.
yeah, because I was literally gonna ask you. I was gonna be
Yes.
like, what was your biggest mental like block or challenge, and how did you overcome it? Like for me,
Gotcha.
like and just like no, for real, bro. You beat me to the punch. I would say like for me, and like a lot of our homies already know this. Like my last intimate relationship was the biggest mental health challenge for me, just because of kind of understanding who I was in that relationship and being
Mm,
able to really be introspective and realize like, okay, I wasn't the most mature. It
mm,
wasn't the healthiest on both sides. It's a two-way street. Um, and then after sort of accepting how that ended, because
mm,
it ended in just a way that it was a lot to deal with that in a short amount of time. I finally started to get the help that I needed. I finally started to go to therapy and
mm,
join programs and connect more with you guys and do some self searching and like something that I hear all the time with mental health, and I think this is like a good thing to leave you guys with is takes a lot of work. Like it's one thing to be stuck in a place, but it's another thing to get yourself out of it. And it does take a village. Like it definitely, tap into like the people you care about to get out of there. But like you really have to be honest with yourself of like, do I actually want to get better? Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people say that they do, but they don't.
mm,
And like I was there. I think part of me kind of still is. Um, but I'm realizing like things are changing.
mm,
Life is entering a whole new realm, especially with the new year coming along. It's like, do I want to be stuck in my old ways, or do I want to get better? Like for Jay, for you, for
mm,
my family, like I can't keep doing the same stuff that I know didn't help me.
mm.
And yeah, it's sometimes it's a slower process than you may want it to be, but as long as slow motion is better than no motion. But so yeah, so that was
True.
my biggest challenge. So I would love to hear yours. Like I think I maybe know what it is. I don't want to speak for you, but I would definitely love to hear yours and like how you got over
I mean, first, that was, excuse my language, but that was fucking great.
that.
I know
Yeah.
I like to keep it more PG, but that was really, really good. And I know what his next move for that one was. But no, that was really, really good. And I appreciate you opening up like that and getting to showcase that to everybody, because I mean, we all know what you went through. We all know
Yeah.
how tough it was for you, and being able to deal with those internal battles to find your way out. So, like, I'm proud of you for how much you've grown and how much you've changed, especially. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
I
like,
love you, bro.
I love you too, bro, and I'm really glad you can express that.
Yeah.
So it's good. Um, Man, for me, yeah, I mean, your thought process probably you're probably right. Kind of crazy because I mean it was fairly recent, but fairly not at the same time. Like, beginning of the year, I was in a tough spot because I genuinely didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was doing with life. I didn't know where my journey was taking me, because everything I knew kind of was starting to shift, and I wasn't sure, and I was kind of uncertain, and I was uncomfortable about it. So I really didn't know how to approach it. And I think that's what the tough thing was for me, you know, dealing with crazy because everything happened at once. Yeah, dealing with my parents splitting was difficult, especially me being as far away as I was when it happened, being on the whole other side of the country, and just trying to adapt with that, and then coming back to completely different world in a way. I think was tough, especially for those first few months. It was difficult because, I think, there's a lot of people out there that, have never really experienced having a real like family together, both parents still together, both parents having a happy, healthy relationship. So that was something I always knew. That's something I always was like, oh, that's family. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So when it kind of shifted, obviously I knew it wasn't nothing to do with me at the end of the day. It was nothing to do with me, but I knew that, my parents are adults. They deal with what they got to deal with, and they just handle it how they have to handle it. So, it's just being able to, just adapt to how the new situation was. And I think it was just difficult because then I had what I was trying to figure out next in terms of career, in terms of playing, because I think my big focus was still like, play, play, play. And I obviously everything with coaching was still on the up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like that was my big positive was okay, coaching, coaching. That's my way of getting to still get everything up and up and up. But it was still just the uncertainty because like I was like, this is my time to make something happen with playing. Had a good year, all this stuff. I have good people around me to help me get there. So let's make it happen. And when it wasn't kind of happening, I'm like, what do I do now? Like, I continue. What's my focus for it? So it was just like it was in the back of my mind for sure. And then, at the very same time, um, just dealing with the breakup, of very of a long term relationship, and one that I adore truly, and that's something that was very tough for me to handle. I did not know what to do. Genuinely, I had no idea what to do because like obviously it's gonna be surprising because like when you don't know and it just kind of happens, you're like, what? But at the same time, like, I think what made it tougher was like because obviously you guys know the feelings I have for that person. And so those deep feelings like tend to express themselves in different ways, and it's hard for me to be able to showcase that but not really fully, if you get what I mean, like not being able to like physically be there to like showcase it,
Yeah.
and I think for me it was hard to navigate what's the best way for me to deal with it and handle it. And I think just like what we literally just touched on, like you know I tried getting a lot of advice, but for me it was still like, okay, what's best for me and how I feel right now. And I think was some of it the best? Probably not. Definitely not. But I had to learn, and I just had to understand like, oh, like, I gotta navigate this a little differently, because then it was just putting me in a hole. It was just making it tougher for me. So I think, dealing with all three of those things was hard to balance, because then it caused me to move a few times doing so many different things. And it was a lot on me mentally rather than physically. And so being able to finally, I think come to a way of thinking of like, look, you know, I I know who I am and I know what I bring in terms of life and in terms of football, in terms of everything, the son, the brother, the friend, the boyfriend, whatever it may be. I know what I can bring, and I know that my presence is felt. And I know that it's a lot deeper in many ways. So it's being able to like fully understand that. And I think I fully found something to understand that by being around you guys, being around like I said, family with golden boot, my real family, being around my mom, all the dogs, my dad, even when it's separate, still just being able to navigate and just kind of deal with different situations. I think dealing with different situations helped me be like, look, you can handle this a lot better and you're going to handle it really well. So being able to just finally come to be like, okay, whatever happens, happens. And that's why like I talked about earlier is like everything that just happened, like it is what it is. Like that's in the past. Like now it's what can I do right now to make myself better? What can I do to really be like, okay, this has got to be a different approach. Like whether it was good habits I had before, trying to get those back, or even then maybe creating new habits, maybe just refocusing all my focuses. And I think that's where, me really understanding, okay, everything I got, like I said, with Golden Boot, with the coaching, like helped me take better steps and be like, oh, wow, I really am making an impact. I'm really doing a good job. Now it's like even more like on the field when I'm playing, I'm like, dang, I feel like I'm getting better. Now I'm really getting to focus more on little things. I'm like, okay, like, maybe it is different. And then you guys gave me a lot of confidence in who I am too. You guys really did, because it was hard because like, you lose that confidence when you go through something like that, and you're just not sure if you if you got it, So it's like, being able to build that confidence back up was key for me. And I think, like I said, having good people around me helped. And that's where, you guys really got to make sure, like Stefan said, make sure you have a good core group around you, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's just like coworkers, your job, like just making sure you have a good group to really uplift you. And I never had a problem reaching out and being vulnerable to you guys. And I think that's something that you guys understand too, is it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. Like it's a part of it. It's a part of life. Like you're gonna be like, that felt better, like shedding a tear, being able to just like breathe and relax and talk through things. You're like, wow, that really did feel better, rather than just holding it all in. Because sometimes, don't get me wrong, you might have to hold it in because you're like, maybe not the best time to say something. But you have to understand there are moments where you got to be like, hey, look, I'm in such a bad place. I just need to talk. I just need to listen. I need someone to listen to me. So being able to really have that is huge. So just make sure you guys have good people around you. Really make sure you have good people around you, because that's that's what's going to help a lot. And I mean, that's that team you need. You need a team. You're an individual going through life, but you need a team to help you learn and grow as well. So I think, yeah, it was definitely a tough time frame, tough few months, but then finally found my way in many ways that are still building in many of those aspects. So it's, yeah, I think there's gonna be things that are gonna pop up here and there mentally, but like I said, I think now I have a lot better understanding of what I want and what I need with life, with work, in general. So yeah.
That was that was beautiful, bro. That was really beautiful. And like, can I give you a hug, bro?
Come here, bro. For you guys. I'm sweating too. I'm sorry. I'm hot in this dang jacket.
Yeah, no, and no, that like hearing you just go through all that meant a lot. Just because you too, Jeremy, like both of you are inspirations to me. Like you guys are brothers. Um, and also too, and like if we want to cut this out, we can. But I think two things that I wanted to touch on is like I remember March of this year, we had a call when I was in Vegas for March Madness for work, and we were just like talking to each other about a lot of the stuff that you were going through at that time.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember just like seeing you where you were at that time, and at that level of vulnerability, and been beautiful to see your journey and see your growth and your strength. Like
Love, bro. Love.
both of you are the strongest people I know. And another moment I want to highlight too is after all three of us recorded episode one of the show, we were just kind of celebrating, drinking some wine together, chopping it up. And I remember like that's when you had really solidified like, yeah, I love what I do with coaching. I love the impact I'm making on these kids, and like
That was
just
the time,
the
yeah.
pride and the joy that it gives you. And then like with you, Jay, like realizing that you're a pro fucking filmmaker. You're a pro fucking filmmaker. I'm gonna say it again, bro. And then like also too, that was like that day I realized how much this podcast means to me.
Hmm.
Like I love this. Like I found my passion with you guys.
Hmm.
And like, you know, I can't wait to see how far we take this. And I'm just so grateful for you guys, the family that we have that watch us every day when we post, that tune in to the socials. And you know, it means a lot. Like we're really trying to build something. Like this isn't, we're not just three guys trying to shoot the shit and post stuff for fun. Like this is fun,
No, of course it is fun.
but it has a greater purpose. Like
Hmm.
we actually want to help. We want to provide value. We want to make good content. We want to change lives. We want to be impactful. Because this is a hard industry to be in. It does weigh a lot on your mental.
Hmm.
And you know, we really strive to be there. Like that's why we call you guys family. Like
Facts.
because
Facts.
this is a family. Each and every one of you that watches, listens, you guys are a family. Um, I love you, Justin. I love you, Jeremy. I'm super, super grateful to have you guys as brothers, as business partners. And in closing, my pitch to you guys on how to be a pro at managing your mental health is exactly what I just said. Find find your family, find your tribe. Like really connect with people that will help you elevate in your career as a sports professional, as a music professional, as an entertainer, as an athlete. And put the work in to get yourself out of a dark place. Talk to a therapist. Some of the services that I've looked into, I have health insurance through Kaiser. My therapist is with 2 chairs. There's Talkspace. They have athlete centric therapy services, and they have also like mobile chat services as
Mm.
well. Because obviously, guys like you are on the go. You can't always sit down in a
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, just check with your insurance provider. And you know, look for local therapists around you as well. So yeah, that's my pitch to you guys on how to be a pro at managing your mental health. And Wolf, what's your pitch to them on how to be pros at that?
Whew. First, I love you too, bro. I love you,
I
Stefan.
love you,
Love
my
you,
guy.
Jay. You know, I love all you people that tune into this because you do make an impact too. You impact us to want to do more, want to do better because that's what we want to do for you guys at the end of the day. Impact you guys. Um, my pitch. Wow. Might take me a sec.
All good.
I don't
Take your
want to say. I
time.
don't want to say the same thing.
All good. Take your time, bro.
um, I'd say for your mental health is just understanding yourself. Really understand yourself and find a time to just kind of look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, what do I like? What maybe don't I like? And how can I still improve no matter what? Whether it's positive, the positive things you like, whether it's negative things you feel about yourself. Don't dwell on the negatives because that's something easy we can do. That's an easy way to get out. Just dig ourselves into a hole, think about the negatives. So I think the more positive you think and the more positive you approach a lot of things, the better it'll be for yourself. Because I think that's something for me that I want to pitch to you guys too is positivity, and that's something that I try to bring to everyone around me. Even dealing with tough times, it's about staying positive. Even like behind the scenes, if I feel like I'm not in the best spot mentally, best spot physically, I just try to still showcase to you guys and you guys like, still me, still smiley,
Yep.
and I think that's just me trying to keep that positive, like keep that positivity. Cause if I know I can help others smile and if I know I can help others feel my positive energy, that'll help me kind of bring my way back out too.
Beautiful pitch, brother. Beautiful. And with that, thank you everybody for tuning into episode 4 of the Pitch and Pro podcast. I'm Stefan. You can follow me at Stefan C. Jones, STEFANCJONES on Instagram. My homie Justin, my best co-host, my best friend.
My dog, my brother.
Go ahead and give him your socials, brother.
Mine on Instagram at Justin Wolf. Wow, I forgot again.
God, this guy.
I always think it's 06 or 6.
06, brother.
Okay, I thought it was. That's crazy. See, like I know my page, but I don't know it that well, I guess. At Justin Wolf 06 on Instagram. Help me run up the followers even more.
Yeah, he's growing like crazy, so definitely run it up for him. And then
It'd be
also,
great.
of course, make sure to follow our podcast pages at Pitch and Pros on Instagram, and we're going to be coming out with more socials soon. And also on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can know when we're posting. Because I know it's been kind of inconsistent, but we're getting there. We're growing
Slowly.
and fixing it slowly. Also, make sure you check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. Hit the follow button there. Hit the notification buttons there. Also, Spotify, real quick. Spotify has a new feature where you can actually leave comments on
Ooh.
podcasts. Leave us a comment. Let us know
Yes,
what you
please
thought of
do.
today's episode.
Please do.
Let us know what you want us to talk about next, or who you want us to bring on, because we're bringing on guests in
Yes.
2025.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, and yeah, again, just you guys are family. I love you, and thank you for checking out this episode.
Keep running it up for us. Keep believing in us. Keep trusting us, and we believe and trust in you guys. Thank you so much.
Salute.
Peace.